Now, please request Mr. Jitendra Naik to join us here on the dais. Let's have a big hand for Mr. Jitendra Naik.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this session on critical minerals, way forward. Actually, it's about unlocking, not really way forward. We are way away from going on the way forward. So it's really unlocking the potential of critical minerals in India. And there's a lot of buzz on critical minerals these days. We all read about it, but I think many of us don't really understand it much. So we have an expert panel here, and I have the pleasure of introducing them. The importance of critical minerals is evident from the fact that our External Affairs Minister, Shri Jaishankar, is, I think, currently, even now in the US, talking to the US and, a cohort of other countries where they're trying to make a merger on how to collaborate on critical minerals exploration as well as refining, right? And we hope to get more knowledge on that. And this is all because, why this is happening is because China is way ahead in this race, and all the other countries are trying to get together and see how they can counter that challenge. So a lot of this will be discussed by our panelists. I have the pleasure of introducing them. So first we have Shri Ashish Kumar, who took over the charge of Director of Business Development with effect from August of 25. He completed his BTech from ISM Dhanbad in the year 93 and obtained first-class manager's competency certificate in DGMS in the year 2000. Shri Ashish Kumar is also a postgraduate in Business Administration from BIT Mesra and also has, to his credit, a diploma in contract management from Indian Institute of Material Management. He joined Coal India in 94 as a graduate trainee in Central Coalfields. Shri Kumar has extensive mining experience of over 30 years involving various domains such as operations, contract management, vigilance, policy formulation, planning, and project monitoring. Before moving to the role of OSD, project advisor in the Ministry of Coal, Shri Ashish Kumar led diversification of CIL into critical minerals. As advisor, Project Ministry of Coal was instrumental in formulation of policy reforms leading to ease of doing business in coal sector. And as I know a little bit from him, he's on his way to Chile for, leading India's, acquisition of critical minerals mining rights. I hope he'll be able to throw some light on that. Next we have Shri Indradev Narayan. He currently serves as Chairman and Managing Director of MECL, Mini Ratna, Central Public Sector Enterprise under the administrative control of Ministry of Mines. Additionally, Shri Indradev Narayan holds the position of Director in Kabil, Khanij Bidesh India Limited, a joint venture of 3 Indian public sector undertakings under the Ministry of Mines, Government of India, specially formed to identify, explore, acquire, develop, mine, process, procure and sell strategic minerals and other overseas minerals for commercial use in and outside India. He's a B from VNIT, our own VNIT in Nagpur, and he's been in his previous role as a Regional Director of CMPDIL up to July of 23. His strategic initiatives have strengthened MECL's role as a premier auction consultancy provider for critical minerals. MECL's proactive approach has led to an unprecedented surge in NMET-funded exploration projects, achieving a record number of assignments, especially in critical mineral. So we have an expert in critical mineral with us in the form of Shri Narayan. Round of applause for both of these gentlemen, please. We have Dr. Hemant Sharad Pandey, Director Personnel, Western Coalfields Limited. He's a mining engineer. He's a distinguished mining professional with over 35 years of leadership experience across major Coal India subsidiaries. A PhD in management, MTech in mining, and MBA holder. He has led large-scale open-cast and underground mining operations, modernization initiatives, and sustainability-driven projects. Renowned for his expertise in technology adoption, industrial relations, and strategic transformation, Dr. Pandey continues to play a pivotal role in shaping future-ready and responsible mining in India. I believe he has the charge of critical minerals in Western Coalfields. So we have another knowledge person with us from Western Coalfields with us, and I also know personally that he's a huge reader. Being a reader myself, I am envious of his huge collection of books. One of these days, I hope to come and see it personally. Yeah. Next, we have Mr. Suraj Prakash, Chief Executive Officer of TechSmin Foundation. He's an IIT IIM alumnus with over 12 years of experience across mining, energy, strategy, and digital transformation. He has worked with leading organizations including SAIL, Tata JV, Mitra Energy, and UCount Technologies, driving innovation at the intersection of technology, policy, and operations. A strong advocate of AI-driven mineral intelligence, blockchain traceability, and digital mining ecosystems, he's shaping the future of smart, transparent, and technology-enabled mining in India. A round of applause for Shri Suraj Prakash. And I have the pleasure of introducing our youngest panelist here, Trishula Sancheti. She comes from a well-known Sancheti family of Nagpur. Trishula is a research fellow at India Foundation. She holds an MSc in International Politics from SOAS University of London and a postgraduate diploma in Business Management from XLRI Jamshedpur. Her professional experience spans the mining, consulting, and waste management sectors. A special round of applause for this young lady because she gave as I understand, you gave a keynote address yesterday at ISM, Dhanbad, and she's traveled all of evening. I think you took a long route to get to Nagpur in time for this session. So welcome to you. So with that, I would like to introduce our moderator for the evening. Shri Anuj Mathur is a manager of business development in WCL. He's done his MTech in environment, and from the last 7 years he's working with WCL in business development and diversification. With that, I hand over the session to you, Anuj, and please take it forward. Thank you.
Respected dignitaries, esteemed panelists, industry leaders, policymakers, investors, academicians, and distinguished guests. A very good afternoon to all of you. Being the moderator, it's my privilege to welcome you to this strategically important session on unlocking the potential of critical minerals and rare earth elements in Vidarbha. It is my honor to moderate this session with our distinguished panelist, Sri Ashish Kumar sir, who is Director Business Development Coal India, who is driving diversification into critical minerals and new energy verticals. Shri I.D. Narayan sir, CMD MECL, leading India's premier mineral exploration organization. Dr. Hemant Sharan Pandey sir, he is Director HR in Western Coalfields Limited. He is representing PSU leadership and mining integration and engaged with business diversifications. Shri Suraj Prakash sir, he is CEO of TechSmin, a key voice in technology, innovation, exploration, and private sector participation. Ms. Trishula Sancheti, who is a research fellow in India Foundation, contributing to policy, economic, and strategic perspectives in geopolitics policies. We are grateful for your presence, sir. As India accelerates towards energy transition, electric mobility, renewable energy, defense, self-reliance, digital transformation, and advanced manufacturing, critical minerals and rare earth elements have emerged as a strategic national resources, essential for EV batteries, solar panels, wind turbines, semiconductors, defense systems, green hydrogen, and next-gen electronics. In 21st century, critical minerals are not just industrial inputs. They are strategic assets shaping the global power, trade security, and technological leadership. Talking about Vidarbha, who is the next mineral frontier, Vidarbha has been long recognized for its coal reserves, mineral wealth, and industrial backbone, is now poised to emerge as new frontier for critical mineral exploration, processing, and value addition, with promising geological indicators, presence of major PSUs like WCL and MECL, growing private sector participation, expanding infrastructure, and skilled workforce. Vidarbha holds immense untapped potential to become a strategic hub for critical minerals and rare earth developments in India. Let me briefly outline the National Critical Mineral Mission, one of India's most significant strategic initiatives. India currently imports a major share of its critical minerals. To address this, Government of India has launched the National Critical Mineral Mission in 2024 with 4 core pillars: domestic exploration and resource security, overseas asset acquisition, processing, refining and value addition, circular economy and recycling. This mission positions critical minerals as national security priority similar to energy and defense. Critical minerals has also been got its place in Union Budget of 2026, which is having a policy breakthrough. The key lights have some custom duty exemptions, production-linked incentives, as well as some incentives for exploration and coal mining, support for processing and refining infrastructure, and focus on recycling and sustainability. This budget marks a turning point, shifting India from mineral import dependence to mineral self-reliance. Now, I would request Shri Ashish Kumar, Director Business Development CIL, to kindly enlighten us with the keynote speech.
Good afternoon, everyone. All the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. I'm seeing few known faces. Mr. Sancheti is here, Mr. Nair is here, Mr. Nayak and everyone I'm seeing. It's good to see. On a lighter note, you will find I'm thankful to all the organizers. It's a privilege to be here to speak in front of you, whatever small experience I am having about the critical minerals. And I once again give my thanks to all the organizers to have such panel, a good mix of youngs and old. The average age of half of the panelists must be 20 years older than the half of other panelists. So thanks and applause to all the young panelists with me. It's good to see them with me. On the critical mineral side, it's a buzzword, as Mr. Nayak in his opening speech has told. Yeah, thanks. He told that it's a buzzword, why it is a buzzword, and why all minerals are not critical, or all the minerals are critical. Everybody know that minerals plays a very crucial role in our daily life. If you go to the site of Canadian mining or the Australian mining department site, they have listed 30 such applications where the minerals are required for everything. You do the from that having the toothbrush, using the toothbrush in the morning, to your wedding, to your travel, everywhere, in every way of life, you require mineral. But why this critical mineral is? What is this? So there is no specific guideline. It's a nation specific. The criticality comes in the two ways: how much you require and how will you procure. So every nation, like US has listed about 50 such minerals. And in India, 2023, an attempt has been made regarding this, and 30 minerals, such mineral has been listed. And you have listened recently, metallurgical coal has also been listed as a critical, because India is not having that much of good quality of metallurgical coal. So in that line, because young students are here, I am seeing it's a bit nostalgic to see all in the dress when we used to be. So critical minerals today are just not commodities, if you see. They are the building blocks of the modern economy. They form the backbone, because all the battery minerals comes under this criticality. India is not having much of them. I can name few, and as one of my friend was telling, the names of these minerals are like, you have it, they are, no, you cannot take the name, they are tongue twisters rather. So there, I can name a few like lithium, cobalt, graphite, niobium, NdPr, we used to say presidium, and all the REs minerals comes under this. In the Indian context, if you find, The critical minerals have become even more important because India is very firmly committed to the green transition, and we are having very steep targets for ourselves. About 450 gigawatt we have to achieve by 2030 and net zero by 2070. And we cannot see the Viksit Bharat without securing the supply of these battery minerals, because the Viksit Bharat, what is Viksit Bharat? So on all the gamut of life, we will have to work, whether it's energy, infrastructure, electronics, semiconductors, whatever you say, these will require the availability of these minerals. So these critical minerals are no longer the optional, but it's a strategic necessity for achieving a carbon neutral and the energy security for India. And as India remains the heavily import dependent on that, or like lithium, nickel, cobalt, India is 100% dependent on these minerals we have to import. And right now we are not importing directly to the mineral, rather we are importing the finished product and using it as a battery. With global geopolitical uncertainties, the demand for critical minerals is expected to increase manifold in 2047. In one IEA survey, it has been found that about 3 billion ton of minerals will be required by 2050. So you can see what is the demand level and where we stand. So another way is to do the recycle, but there is a limit to it. So we will have to work on those things or points. So recognizing all these challenges, Government of India has taken strong initiatives. As I told, they have identified which are the minerals, and they have also launched in July 2025 National Critical Mineral Mission with a clear vision to secure long-term sustainable supply. And in this mission, they have roped in PSUs like Coal India and other PSUs in total, and they have targeted about the capex of about rupees 34,300 crores up to 2032 to secure all these assets. And this money has to go in all things, whether it's R&D, human resource development, fiscal incentives, everywhere they want to put in, so that the ecosystem of the critical mineral can be formed in India, and India can be self-reliant in critical minerals supply at least. At the same time, we must acknowledge that the critical mineral sector is still at a nascent stage, as I said. Challenges remain, high exploration cost is there, but gestation period is much high for the mines, and the worst part is the technology to process is not available. We are banking on the scientists like Mr. Madhu Nair and other and ISM, IITs, IIT Hyderabad, NFTDC, so many institutions are working on it to provide that technology, because technology, as you know, is specific to one country is having, commanding the supply of that technology. So in the national journey, in that quest, Coal India is also playing its role, although step by step, but we have very ambitious targets on that. We have recently acquired few blocks. 3 blocks are under Coal India. One is Khatali Choti graphite block, another is Auranga block, in which vanadium is also we are expecting, and one RE block in the Maharashtra we have recently acquired, and we are working on it. And CIL is also collaborating with other PSUs and signing the MOUs with universities like IIT Hyderabad, I told, NFTDC, to work on the technology development and to set up the plants. Coal India is also exploring the acquisition overseas assets. We are trying to get such assets in Australia, Chile. We are right now we are in advanced stage, and certainly we are hoping that something good will come in near future. And if we come I'm in this Vidarbha event, and in this, I firmly believe that Vidarbha has the potential to emerge as one of the India's most strategic hub for critical mineral, and Coal India will certainly play its part to establish this energy transition ecosystem. Historically, Vidarbha has been the backbone of coal production. Our WCL, one of our subsidiary WCL, is working here. And it's always, Vidarbha region is always supported by the robust mining infrastructure, skilled manpower is available, railway connectivity is very good here, and as industrial base, Maharashtra has always been loved by all the industries. So these strengths can now be leveraged for the next phase of India's growth in critical mineral and downstream value addition. And as I said, that the WCL has already conducted, WCL has a unique strategic advantage as one of the most operationally strong subsidiaries of Coal India Limited, has a dominant presence across Vidarbha, and WCL has already conducted preliminary analysis of overburden material, wherein certain critical minerals have been observed. My colleague, Mr. Pandey, will speak on it further. And with NCMM support, rare earth corridor initiatives, and the encouraging policy push through the Vidarbha Advantage, backed by Honorable Union Minister of Road and Transport, Mr. Nitin Gadkari ji, and Honorable Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Mr. Fadnavis, the region has a strong enabling ecosystem for attracting investments. Conclusion, I will say that critical minerals are the new oil, we can say, of the modern world. They will define the energy security, industrial competitiveness, and strategic strength. With Coal India's diversification roadmap and WCL's strong regional advantage, Vidarbha is well positioned to support Viksit Bharat 2047 and Net Zero 2070. Thank you for inviting me for such a wonderful program. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Our heartfelt thanks to Ashish sir for giving us an insight about the critical minerals opportunity in coal mining ecosystem. Now I would request Shri I.D. Narayan sir, CMD MECL, to tell us about how MECL plays a pivotal role in mineral exploration. Can you please, sir, share the insights on current and upcoming exploration programs in Vidarbha for critical minerals and rare earth, and how soon commercial production could become viable, sir? Yes, sir.
Very good afternoon, dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries of the dais. It is my privilege to address this august gathering. The topic today is very apt and timely. The critical mineral, as already said by previous speakers, that it is not only the buzzword, it is the hard reality of this time. So, we all are trying hard to make the country Atmanirbhar, sustainable, working in our own fields. So I have a very brief presentation about critical mineral potential in India and in general for Vidarbha. Next slide, please. So we all know why critical minerals are critical, because they are essential for economic development and the national security. It is used in many sectors, including defense. And every country has its own list of critical mineral, which is required by their industry, their economic growth. Next slide. So this slide says that our dependence on the other countries for the critical mineral, as we say that lithium, cobalt, nickel, it is 100%. For graphite, we do have graphite, we do have phosphorus, but potash again 100%, and we see the top 3 producers. India is not amongst this list, and main thing is that apart from the production, the processing part. Even the advanced countries which are producing the critical mineral are heavily dependent upon China for processing of critical mineral. Next. Why India is thrusting on the mineral ecosystem? Because we want to make Atmanirbhar Bharat, sustainable industrial growth and strategic autonomy in the supply chain. We all have seen the recent geopolitical conditions, geopolitical tensions. It is all because of these critical minerals. So we have to move faster to acquire and do sustainable mining in the country and also beyond the country. As Ashish Saab has already told that Coal India is searching for assets abroad. Similarly, we do also have a joint venture which is already working in Argentina, acquired lithium brine blocks, which I will come again in the later slides. Next slide, please. Next slide. This slide says that what kind of initiatives have been taken by Government of India for this making this ecosystem for critical minerals. Earlier it was a national critical mineral strategy for identification of key minerals for energy, defense and the technology sector. MMDR is being amended regularly for ease of business. Kabil, as I have already told, that it is a joint venture between Hindustan Copper, NALCO and Mineral Exploration and Consultancy Limited. We are searching for foreign assets through Kabil. Already started working in Argentina for 5 lithium blocks. We have an independent MOU with Government of Argentina for exploring lithium and other minerals. The National Mineral Exploration and Development Trust. It was earlier National Mineral and Exploration Trust only. Recently it has been amended and development word has been inserted in this, and the scope of NMET has been expanded. It was earlier working for the national assets only. Now it will be funding for the foreign assets also. PLI scheme has been launched by Government of India for mineral sector. We have also steps for strengthening processing capacity, expansion of RE and strategic mineral refining. International partnership, we are doing, as Nayak Sahab has also told, that our External Affairs Minister is already there in USA. Announcement of National Critical Mineral Mission. It is a very important step of Government of India to promote the critical mineral exploration, extraction and processing. And recently there has been a scheme to promote manufacturing and sintered rare earth permanent magnet with total capital outlay of 7,200 crores. Next slide. This is the chain of National Critical Mineral Mission. It is basically for the domestic production, foreign acquisition, recycling, trade, R&D, skilling and fiscal initiatives. In all the components have been working in their own sphere to make this total ecosystem. Already domestic production, 1200 blocks have been identified for next 5 years. Foreign acquisitions, it is done through PSUs as well as the private sector. Recycling, we are producing lithium through recycling in our country. So already there has been boost for recycling. 1,500 crore rupees has been sanctioned by Government of India to promote recycling. And there is an ample opportunity available for the recycling. It is also known as urban mining, which is done in the cities. Next slide. This is the potential for Vidarbha specifically. As we all know that 93% of the mineral of Maharashtra is available in Vidarbha. So we are mineral rich, and in this mineral scenario, coal is available in ample quantity in Vidarbha, manganese is there, iron ore is there, limestone is also there, and in the other mineral, quartz, granite and marble, copper is also available. We are hunting for critical mineral, tungsten, Re and graphite. And you will be happy to know that there in the recent auction of Government of India, there has been auction of a tungsten block in Vidarbha region. Next slide. This is the exploration landscape in this region. It is done through GSI and the Department of Geology and Mining of Maharashtra. MECL is doing a lot of exploration in this. Other PSUs like Coal India, CMPDI, MOIL is doing in their spheres. And there are a lot of private exploration agencies are also there who are doing a lot of exploration work through NMET. Next slide. This is just about our company. I will hurriedly go through it. This is MECL is basically a mini Ratna company under Ministry of Mines. We have all kind of exploration services and consultancy services available under single roof. Next slide. These are the services available with us. It is geological services, geophysical, which are going to play a major role in the field of critical mineral. Geochemical services, we have a state-of-art laboratory available with us. Drilling and rig manufacturing unit we have. And we also provide consultancy services, which includes the consultancy services to Government of India for critical mineral blocks auction. Next slide. This is just about how we are doing with our services, drilling, logging, chemical analysis, surveys, and geological reports. We have resource persons available in good number. We have a strong fleet of exploratory drills. Next slide. It is around 78 rigs of all kind of rigs are available with us, including the special rigs. Next. This is the specialized geophysical equipments which are available with us, which can be used by all the stakeholders. I invite all the stakeholders which are into the exploration field. Please take our help or any kind of consultancy you require or the knowledge sharing you require. You are most welcome to MECL. Next. This is our drill rig maintenance and manufacturing unit, which is available, one unit in Seminary Hills, other in Hingana. Next slide. This is ultra-modern geochemical lab, which is a very important part for identifying critical minerals. Next slide. This one slide, I just want to draw your kind attention, all of you. This is a first of its kind equipment which has been recently added to our fold. It is a core scanner with LIBS technology. It is very useful for critical mineral identification. We have recently acquired it. It has been supplied by a Canadian firm. So all the stakeholders, those who are in critical mineral field, I invite them to visit this, have knowledge of this equipment, because it takes very less time. You can place all of your cores exploratory course which you obtained through drilling. You place your tray there and it will identify all kind of minerals. 62 minerals in one scan. So, because critical mineral in our geological setting is available in very ppm quantity, so it is very essential to identify them. As Urdu couplet goes that rakh kadam phook kar zahid, zarre zarre mein jaan hai pyare. So every zarra has to be identified. So next slide, it is just how we are doing with NMET fund. It is available for everybody. It is the only scheme available by Government of India in which you get advance before starting your work. You get 40% advance before you start your work. So please participate through this exploratory program of Government of India through NMET fund. You don't have to spend through your pockets. Next slide. This is our role in critical mineral blocks auction, in which 6th tranche has also already has been completed. 7th tranche is going to be launched very soon, I think within a month or so. So in this 6th tranche, total 46 number of blocks have been auctioned by Government of India. And Coal India is also a beneficiary of that, and Ashish Saab is doing a great job for developing these blocks. Next slide. This is our overseas footprint. We are doing our work in Argentina. We are also looking some opportunities in Australia. We have done a program in Zambia. So we can join hands with the other stakeholders also in these programs. Next. So in Vidarbha region, we have done more than 20 projects. In this, 9 projects are critical mineral, basically for tungsten. Through central government, 3 critical mineral blocks has been auctioned. And exploration is in progress in 1 more tungsten block in Kuhi region. Next. These are the block which has been auctioned by Government of India. The first is Vadakho Lasoli. It is for nickel and chromium. It is in Sindhudurg. But Kawalpur, which has been recently acquired by Coal India, it is near Ramtek. Khobna and Agargaon, it is for tungsten mineral. It is in Vidarbha region. And there is a EL block, exploration license block in Gadchiroli for lead and zinc. Next slide. So we have ample potential available in the Vidarbha. All I will request that all the stakeholders that we should join our hands to make not only Vidarbha, this country great and Atmanirbhar. Thank you. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for giving us very insightful information regarding the different kinds of exploration and reserves that we have unlocked in Vidarbha and overseas also. Now, I would request Dr. Hemant Sharad Pandey, sir, having the WCLs having strong foundation in coal mining and mineral resource management. How do you see PSU collaboration in complete critical mineral value chain?
First of all, thanks to the organizers to have given me this opportunity and platform to come here. My co-panelist, eminent co-panelist, Mr. Ashish Kumar, Director, Business Development, Coal India Limited, CMD MECL, Mr. I.D. Narayan, Mr. Prakash from Taxmin, and the youngest panelist, Trishala Sancheti. And in front, Nirbhay is also sitting, and one of my colleague, Piyush Kumar, he has also come from Kolkata, and one of my senior is sitting backside. Azmi Saab is there. And our general managers who have come from WCL, and all the respected ladies, all the students and all the gatherings. आप सभी को मेरा सादर प्रणाम. WCL is a subsidiary of Coal India Limited, is operating in Vidarbha region. Actually, we operate in some part of Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh, to be specific in 7 districts in coal mining, and we are producing around 69 million tons of coal per year. And for that, we are taking out around 390 million cubic meter of overburden, that is waste rock. And that waste rock is of our concern because the critical minerals, the topic which we are discussing, it holds an immense important role because we are treating it as a waste overburden till now. But now, with the focus on critical minerals, WCL is also very critical about its OB part. So I'll have only for few slides. I don't have a very long presentation, but we have done the exploration work in this field that I wanted to highlight. And Vidarbha is very close to all of our hearts, and we want Vidarbha to be a leader in this field also, with the vision of Honorable Minister Gadkari sir and our Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis sir. So we are going to be a part of this mission. So I have a small presentation. Somebody is helping me. This is India's geological potential that is summarized. We have rich reserves for copper, cobalt and lithium, and the significant rare earth elements occurrences in Northeast India and Madhya Pradesh. And the import dependency and risk is very high in this, which over 53,000 tons of rare earth magnets imported recently amid China's export restriction. So we need to have a very independent approach for our country. Next slide. This is National Critical Mineral Mission that has been already talked, MMDR Amendment Act, and then Kabil, then international partnership. This has been already covered by our earlier speakers. The strategic relevance, you all know, for EV batteries, then renewable green energy and the electronic, then the national security, defense item, and green hydrogen economy. And we have to be aligned with India's net zero goals till the year 2070. So this push towards the self-realization and diversification is going on. The budget, which is of our interest, that Vidarbha and WCL can become India's next frontier. So NCMM budget 2026 has these figures. Rupees 34,300 crores for National Critical Mineral Mission, which is approved over 7 years back, and 16,300 crores of government funding, and with a focus on exploration, processing and recycling and value addition. So Vidarbha is actually having coal-bearing formation and with emerging potential of rare earths element and critical minerals. So the rare earth elements we have are lithium associated minerals like tellurium, gallium and critical trace elements, which are in coal and OB. OB is overburden that we are just producing and getting nothing out of it. And at this juncture, we can tell that WCL mines, especially all the open cast projects of our company, around 30 projects, they are ready infrastructure for this pilot extraction and beneficiation. Next slide. Ek piche.
Huh. So the NCMM as a pillar and what are the opportunities of Vidarbha or WCL that I have shown in this slide. We can have this help of NCMM funds in exploration funding, then processing and refining support, then the recycling and recovery, value chain development. Value chain development will be a non-coal revenue stream of WCL. That also aligns with our target of Amritkal that we have to stop producing coal and go to other energy green resources. And for that, this will be one of the revenue stream for WCL. So as a business organization, we are also very interested about this. And then the import substitution for domestic RE supply for EV, defense and renewables. The budget to 2026 levers for Vidarbha are 500 crores for critical mineral processing parks, 1500 crores for recycling and recovery incentives, 100 crores for pilot and demonstration projects. In this, WCL-led RE pilot projects will be there, and then the customs duty exemptions. Now, the most important aspect that concerns this conference, this conclave, and Vidarbha is this slide. This is the analysis of critical minerals, what we have. So we did samplings in our mines of Adasa, Opencast, then Makardokda 3, Durgapur, amalgamated Gauri Poni, Mongoli Nirguda Osi, and amalgamated Yekona 1 and 2 mines. And the reports were very encouraging, which were submitted in the month of November 25. And the samples have been sent to NFTDC, that is Non-Ferrous Materials Technology Development Center, Hyderabad. And the list you can see in this slide, list of REs, then light REs and heavy REs. In this, as respected Ashish Kumar Saab was telling, the tongue twisters are there. If somebody tries, I can give them cash prizes here. So we have got around 16 such REs, and they are all of very strategic importance. And WCL is planning to go further into this. And for that, what we are doing is, next. This is the details of what has happened in which mines. There's potash with average value in ppm is shown here. Then tellurium, then titanium, lanthanum, rhenium, selenium, zirconium, and cerium. All these have the values which are given in ppm, and this has been tested in our lab. And it has been sent to Hyderabad for confirmation. And now how to get this business going is what we are thinking of. And the next second tranche, next slide, we are going for second tranche, and we have already floated tender for conducting analysis of RE and critical minerals in 6 mines, open cast. OC is open cast mines, which is open mine. The tender opening will be on 18th February. And again, we are expecting a list of all these important critical minerals and rare earth elements in our operating area, and to how to extract it and how to make a pilot project out of it, out of these findings. That is what WCL is now searching for. And I am very confident about this, that we will succeed this in this mission, and will be helping our nation for avoiding the dependency on other countries for import substitution, and as a business alternative for apart from our core business, that is coal production. Will be going into the Critical Minerals and Rare Earths Limited. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, sir, for giving us the this about the opportunities, about all the reserves that can be extracted from the coal mines. Now, coming upon, now we have the reserves, we have exploration. I would request Sri Suraj Prakash, sir, CEO of Texmin, that from how a public-private entrepreneurship, how can innovation such as AI-driven exploration, digital mining, advanced beneficiation, and sustainable extraction technologies can accelerate the critical mineral discovery and commercialization in Vidarbha?
गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीवन सो आई विल कंसिडर दिस अ थिंक टैंक अभी सर ने कहा है कि द एवरेज पैनल का जो एज है इज़ 20 ईयर्स यंगर देन द अदर पैनलिस्ट सो इट मीन्स अ लॉट यू नो व्हाट डज इट मीन इट मीन्स दैट अभी एक ऐसा ग्राउंड आ चुका है इन विच एक्सपीरियंस एंड एजिलिटी आर कमिंग इन द सेम प्लेस राइट यू सी वी आर एज एक्साइटेड एज यू नो लाइक 20-30 ईयर एक्सपीरियंस इन ए particular field as a newbie who is probably you know in class 12th. You know, this happens only sometimes in the human civilization ka timeline mein. Let me be very candid in this, right? Probably I will not use the tongue twisters, but I will just want to create the vision that, you know, what we want to bring in, right? So, what we see, जैसे अभी सर ने कहा कि विकसित भारत आत्मनिर्भर भारत, right? So, there is a certain numbers to it. I will just want to talk on the numbers. So, it says that in 30 years, in 2047, we will be a $30 trillion dollar economy. We are about $4-5 trillion now. करीब 8 times will be growing in just next few years, right? Just to give you a perspective of how important Vidarbha is, just the present critical minerals and rare earth का जो potential है is around, we estimated around 8.67 lakh crores. करीब 8-9 लाख करोड़ का जो potential है just lies here. So you can expect that at least 800 billionaires can actually come from this particular thing. This is the amount of potential in value terms. We will now talk unlocking the potential, which is the topic, right? So when we talk about this unlocking the potential, sir was also very nicely saying about ki the potential has not yet been realized, right? It is something that we need to, I would say, unlock. This is very important again because now we have to look into other aspects what will be, used for unlocking this potential. I will give you a context. So 3 years before when, Texmin as a, research park for Department of Science and Technology started, and we were given this mandate for exploration and mining, all this augmentation. So we were thinking on one particular thing कि भाई जो next generation है, इसमें the IT engineers probably will become the mining engineers and will be ऐसे ठीक है. So जो mining engineers, IT engineers है, they will become the mining engineers. I will tell you why. Because when AI-driven systems tell you what is more productive, they are telling you which is more safer, then the responsibility of any accident lies on the IT engineer and the AI engineer more than probably the mining engineer. And hence what we did, we started doing this global hackathons, inviting companies like Google and all these people, right? Amazon and everybody, right? And then we started knowing what is their IT outlook. So they were all talking about AI, ML and all. So we conducted this hackathon in France and we were able to get the potential, the AI potential for this particular resource constraint times, right? Thanks to it, when we identified the problem statements and we got some startups, in just 3 years, we have got 4-5 startups which were valued first in 1 crores kind of level, now already reached 100 crores mark. And their birthday is after our birthday. Like this is what I want to say, they are less than 3 years. You see, when you hit the right questions, right, then the value will increase. Same thing happens with every big companies. Now, if you talk to any big, company or corporate, they will not tell that any startups or any entrepreneurship or entrepreneurship, right? They are something to be like looked down upon or something like that because they are becoming the real, the newbies of this particular era. If you talk about this critical mineral rare earth thing and all, so the criticality is dependent on the supply chain of that particular element. So for countries, some countries it will be like 50-60 minerals are critical. For some countries 30-40, some countries it will be like every mineral is critical only because they don't live in that place of any mineral thing, right? So we have to address this criticality from a supply chain perspective and from the perspective of what we already have. If we look into Vidarbha, what it is, so it is lying in a very strategic location. location which we often think right now. So what we were doing around those 6 months to 1 year back, we were just mapping the whole country into various regions and pockets, right? And trying to see that, okay, if this is something which is going to come, so which are the regional areas which can be developed? And that's where, this region came into, our eyesight. So I come from Dhanbad, Texmen, Dhanbad, right? So for me, it was, to be honest, a very new area kind of thing. I had never visited this area, but slowly and slowly, now we are also setting up one center here for critical mineral processing and all. And we will be doing it in a different way, in a way that obviously the equipment will be there, knowledge and expertise will be there, but also AI/ML digitization will also be there. That will accelerate the, recovery, they will accelerate the yield, they will accelerate the potential of this particular area. देखिए 8 लाख करोड़ का जो potential है उसको reach करने के लिए we must have some technologies in background. For example, all the equipment that you are seeing, let's say for example LIPS is one equipment, right? So can we get the data on the edge itself, right? And then we can maybe map the areas much faster. See, जो Gadroli में Gachiroli, right? The name, sorry, I'm forgetting the name. Gachiroli, right? So Gachiroli is टी और पूरा forest वाला area है. वहाँ पर the mining resources you already know. करीब 8-8.5 लाख करोड़ में 3-3.5 लाख करोड़ का potential तो just particular block में. But then mining that thing will be very difficult because of so many issues and all. So can we have electrokinetic or thermokinetic mining kind of thing, right? Where we can understand the chemistry of that particular area, right? And then we can attract the ions, right, of the heavier minerals and all, and then we can attract it here. You see, future में जो mining है, when we talk about this technologies of exploration, technologies of mining for beneficiation and finally extraction, they are to be very, very different from what we are going to do right now. And a lot of science and research is taking place across the world for these kind of things. For example, we are talking about, obviously we know about hyperspectral imagery and all, but we are talking about augmenting a multimodal kind of, analysis in which we can take multiple data sets and from remote sensing only we can discover that, okay, these are the more potential areas, right? Thereby reducing the effort of going there and then taking out samples. This is something which is very new, and I would say it is an opportunity for everyone to actually focus upon. When you talk about mining, as I was saying that, extraction of the whole complete, 1 ton of material just to get 300-400 ppm might not be economically feasible, right? We might develop so many pilot circuits, but at the end of the day, somebody has to invest on that pilot circuit, right? So it has to be economically viable. So can we talk about some kinetics talking into place and then, develop technologies in which the minerals themselves come to at certain place, right? So a lot of research is also going there. Then we are talking about, processing. And just the processing, okay, India does not have much more processing facilities, but other countries have. So what we have done is we have created a kind of international collaborations all around. So we are now partnered with Brazil, Russia, UK, now USA, right, Australia. And all these people, they are having a lot of companies. They also want to invest in India, right? Thankfully, by the means of, we being a translation research park from Department of Science Technology, we are able to take some of their technologies, and we are looking for entrepreneurs who can take these things up and really deploy it. And they can be, doing it with the raw material suppliers, which are the bigger companies, right? And they can set up these whole plants. These kind of initiatives actually help us in discovering, or I would say unlocking the value chain of that particular, critical mineral or rare earth or anything that we talk about. See, we are talking about data banks. Any kind of AI and all will not work if you don't have data. Right? So can we have data from each and every aspect, right? Hence, we always talk about whatever process that you do, you always keep your data intact and properly saved. You never know. You see, what the problem, what has happened in very recently is that some of the areas which are like the overburden areas, right? So we were dumping it in some places, we afforested it. Yesterday, we were discussing with Nair Saab, and he was saying, because jo dump areas hai, usme aapne pehle plant lagaya, now you are saying that, okay, we will again take it. That could be a, but you see, this is the reason we always talk about data, right? So we say that if you had the data of the dump before you are dumping it, right, then maybe the future generations, present technologies might not make it viable, but future generations, you don't need to dig the place all over again, right? So these kind of initiatives, I think, would be very, very useful and beneficial for unlocking the potential that we have here at, Vidarbh. Vidarbh definitely can be, so we call it that earlier jo mining hota tha, wo mining is a linear mining. You explore, go, and it's a linear scale mining karke. Now it is to become a circle. So your mine, dump, again recycle it, again go, this is circular mining is happening. So the hub can be Vidarbha for at least the India perspective because of so much potential, so much entrepreneurs, I would say. The human resource here is very, very, entrepreneurial in these kind of activities, right? It can be the new Bangalore, right, for these kind of entrepreneurships. The supply chain is also very strong here. We can also have things like, from mine to motor kind of concept, right? So sir is already like, you already know that they have got this RE block where NdPr and stuff will be extracted. We are now having some technologies to directly get magnets out of this NdPr oxides, right? But somebody where we have to place those factories can be maybe here only, right, in this region, or maybe in the regions in the banks or the ports and all, right? So that those end material can also be utilized. For all these things, I think, entrepreneurship is the right way, right? And it can come from bigger companies also, right? It can come from small companies also. I think that's it from my side.
Thank you, sir, for this wonderful session. Now, I would request Ms. Trishila Sancheti to enlighten us from a strategic and policy standpoint, how international partnerships are necessary for India to build a globally competitive and resilient critical mineral ecosystem.
Thank you, and good afternoon to all the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. So, of course, we have the National Critical Mineral Mission, which was established in 2025, and we had 30 critical minerals with 24 minerals in Part D of the Schedule 1, where central government had the right to auction off all the minerals. Now we have the coking coal as well, so we have 25 minerals in Part D. So one of the things we also have to realize is that rare earth, of course, we need to explore. Deng Xiaoping, who was the premier of China, once famously said that Middle East has oil, China has rare earths. And we have seen that play out because China has really built up its rare earth infrastructure and its mastery in critical mineral processing through state-led financing. Their banks, which are government-owned, have lower rates of lending. There is more risk appetite. So that is why they have become where they have. And also they had the appetite to go to risky geographies. One of them is DRC, which which produces half of the world's cobalt. So that risk appetite was there, and today we are all scrambling to find those rare earths, those critical minerals. Again, critical minerals differ by country. Aluminium is a critical mineral in Australia and US. It is not a critical mineral in India. USA has just released its draft, and it has 54 critical minerals, just a draft. Right now they have 50. So one of the partnerships we are leveraging is the Quad Critical Mineral Initiative, which was signed last year. And we have 20 critical minerals in common with Australia, Japan, and the US. And Japan had that expertise in urban mining. Now, 1 ton of rare earth generates 2,000 tons of toxic waste. So, China, of course, there is weak labor law, the ESG regulations weren't that safe, and in 1950s, the technology of acid leaching was actually in the US, which it dropped because of the radioactive waste. China actively pursued it. We cannot. We have to be responsible. So one of the things we have to see is safe REE mining, and one of the things we should leverage, the government has launched the 1,500 crore recycling scheme, and we are the third largest generator of e-waste. So with our cell phones, with our solar panels, our televisions, one of the fundamental things we have to leverage is to formalize our e-waste sector. It will not only help us build up our critical minerals sector, it will also generate revenue for the government. And that is the beauty of the critical minerals sector, that it can be recycled back, unlike fossil fuels. And then, of course, we have partnerships with Australia, Argentina, Chile. But then for REE, we also need to leverage our neighborhood, Myanmar. Myanmar is the third largest producer of rare earth elements. And because of lack of processing and refining, they only sell it to China. So we nearly need to pursue our neighborhood as well. We also are exploring, India is also exploring opportunities in Mozambique for graphite. We have one block, Zambia, Then there are other African countries like Malawi. So those countries also need to be seen, stable African geographies. Those are needed. And one of the beauty of Vidarbha is that of course Sir has talked, a lot of panelists have talked about critical mineral potential here, but we have not talked about the logistics potential Vidarbha can play for critical minerals. Madhya Pradesh has Malajkhand copper belt. Singrauli recently in deposits we found REE. Then Chhattisgarh, we have coal mines in Chhattisgarh. Coking coal is present in Madhya Pradesh, which is now a critical mineral. So we can also, the entrepreneurship should also be driven for logistics hub. So that is one. Then we can also work on Quad Critical Recycle initiative, where entrepreneurs here can work on streamlining data from Quad countries that can streamline our urban mining. So these are some of the partnerships we have to leverage. And with this, I conclude my brief speech because enough has been spoken and that's it.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. I will quickly brief up what all the panelists have given. We have learned about the domestic exploration and the resource security, how we can accelerate the geological surveys and deep exploration for critical minerals, expanding the mineral mapping across the unexplored regions in Vidarbha and India, promoting the PSU and private collaboration in discovery, how overseas asset acquisition can be done, securing strategic mineral assets abroad, and strengthening partnerships with Africa, South America, and Australia, and as we have learned the new in the Myanmar. Further, how regarding processing, refining, and value addition, how we can build indigenous mineral processing capacities, reducing dependence on foreign refining, and promoting downstream manufacturing for batteries, magnets, and electronics. Also, circular economy and recycling. We are encouraging the urban mining and enhancing the recycling of lithium-ion batteries and electronic waste, supporting the sustainable mineral recovery. Further, as per the budget that we have, some highlights were given. The custom duty exemptions have been told that zero or reduced import duty on key critical minerals such as lithium, cobalt, nickel, copper concentrates, rare earth compounds. This is aimed at lowering production costs and boosting the domestic manufacturing. For production-linked incentives have battery storage, EV manufacturing, and semiconductor supply chains, and encouraging the local mineral-based value additions. Further, the budget also gave incentives about the exploration and mining, like Sir has told, additional advanced funding for mineral exploration and faster clearance mechanism for critical mineral blocks. Promotion of private sector partnership in mineral development have been told us by the CEO at Exmin. And support for processing and refining infrastructure, funding for mineral processing plants, support for rare earth separation and refining capacity, incentives for downstream industries. Now, I would like to have a couple of questions from our esteemed panelists. We'll do that, sir. But I'll just ask basic questions. Okay, let's have first questions from the audience.
Hello. Sir, first of all, it was a very informative session, and it covers our partnerships with other countries. It covered what exactly is there in Vidarbha that we can explore and things like that, and it also covered the budget, right? So considering all the facts, it's a good presentation, first of all. Second thing, here, what we are looking for. Advantage Vidarbha means that what exactly is there for me in it, right? Because this is one particular segment and one particular sector where many big companies, in fact, Mini Ratnas and other companies which are government-led, etc., are coming into picture because the investment is pretty huge, right? So considering that particular factor, I cannot see anybody having a complete knowledge who can guide me that, okay, that these are the ancillary units that can be attached to it, and with a budget or a investment capacity of, let's say, 5 to 10 crores or maybe 20 crores, you can explore these things, etc., etc. I tried to find out when steel was discovered in Gadchiroli, etc., etc. So all the information on Google, etc., is flooded with Sariya kaise banana hai, and that's it. So those all projects are worth approximately 25 to 40 CR, and nothing else is there. So what exactly in this particular thing can be done for people like us with small SME segment, etc., etc.? I cannot find any valuable insights anywhere on the net also. So I would like to know everybody's view on this particular segment.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yeah, little louder, please. Thanks.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gentlemen, may I know your name?
Vicky Daswani, sir.
PK?
Vicky Daswani.
Vicky. Yeah, Mr. Vicky, you have rightly said that this ecosystem about the critical mineral has to come up. You said how the acquisition in collaboration with the foreign countries will help the Vidarbha. Am I right? Your question is that? And how it is going to help the SMEs, MSMEs and all. So if you look from this point of view directly, you may not find anything, but when the ecosystem develops, if you see a coal mine, so many stakeholders are there, SMEs are there, MSMEs are there. So once the critical mineral industry develops, it will help everybody because it will be a very big industry. So right now you may not be finding any direct quotation or anything on the Google, but later on you will find when the ecosystem will develop, like the mineral processing will develop. If you see the India, in 1960 we were not having any crude, but we set up, somebody has envisioned at that time about the refineries. So like that, we are not having any critical mineral, but we can set up the processing, which is being dominated by one country. We have some competitive advantages over that. We are having good youth, working professionals, technology we have to develop, or we can bring from anywhere, or in our country we do have. So when this ecosystem will develop, certainly everybody, every stakeholder, whether he is small or large, will be benefited from that. I think I am able to answer your question. If anything...
So anybody else can throw some light on this particular thing, because I have another question to ask post that.
I think, Mr. Vicky, your question is a very good question. If you want to enter in this field, you can start with exploration business. You require small capital there. You require certain kind of expertise for which you can tie up with other agencies. You can have some rigs which are not very costly. You have to have some resource persons with domain knowledge, because I have already told that funding is given for the detailed exploration by Government of India through NMET. So this will be a area in which you can enter if you want to in the mineral segment, in this critical mineral scenario. That can be a starting point. I think if you want more detail, we can have more detail also.
My another question, sir, is simple, again on the same lines only. Sir, if you talk about 1960s and 1970s, there, considering nowadays we are 5 decades later from that particular date. So at that time, information was not there. Today, we have ample of information and ample of resources that can be copied or get from other countries also. So if China is very ahead and the whole world is relying on China for critical minerals, and China is arm twisting the whole world in regards to critical minerals. Our EV batteries are not coming, prices not coming down, etc., etc. Considering all these factors, if I talk about one simple factor, that wherever these minerals are explored, and the countries who are rich in these kind of minerals, etc., right? So there also the ecosystem must have developed. So if that ecosystem is developed in those particular countries, why can't we replicate in a very fast manner here, and we have some ready projects on hand by any ministry or any government agency, maybe WCL, MOIL, or any other pseudo government agency, who can guide us, okay, that this is the ecosystem which is coming up, and we are developing these critical minerals exploration industries, etc. So these are the ancillary units, and these are the things which will be available for...
Mr. Vicky, I would request you to just cut to the chase and just
I have
precise the precise question.
I understand. I have to set a perspective for the question also, right? So this is my question, that when the ecosystem is there in other countries in a nutshell, why can't we replicate in a very fast manner here?
So, Vicky ji, I will, am I audible?
Yeah.
So I will give you 5 things, probably. These things can be a very
Can
good
you be a little louder, thanks?
Hello. Yeah, I'm saying that I'm giving you 5, I would say doables, right, at the action point. I understand you come from the SME sectors, right? So one would be like, can you actually do a multimodal, AI-based, analysis of various data, right? For example, there is a hyperspectral data, there is a geochemistry data, there is a geophysical data. If you can mix them and then make a multimodal, exploration-wise, helpful the tool that can help the exploration of these critical minerals, then it will be very useful. And there are people who are very good takers of it. The second comes from the chemistry point of view. Let's say you are good in chemistry, right? The entire chemistry, you see, for example, let's say if you have to excavate coal, so some places fly ash would be, or ash would be a problem. For some places, sulfur would be a bigger problem. For some places, some other things will be a problem, right? So when a lot of, you can see in your nearby vicinity, a lot of thermal plants are there. If you can actually take some of the fly ash and get the constituents out of it, maybe then you can talk about how or which chemical agents or which eukinetic, right? Different solvents will have different temperatures, right? So through it, you can actually extract various critical minerals out of that particular point. The third point will be that, like in Vidarbha, you are in the central India. So there is a lot of space in which supply chain can be managed, right? Of various, as you were saying about the black mass coming to place and all. So can you actually identify the nodal points, right? And actually the capacities of various, black mass thing coming up. Is there any time issue? Anything you want to say?
Sorry, just...
2 points I will share you after the...
Yes.
Thanks.
I'll just tell you that some of the speakers are available post the session also for a quick chat. So any interested people can take the opportunity to do so. I think we've all had a long afternoon, and especially the speakers who have come here today. I would like to thank Shri Ashish Kumarji, who's come down from Calcutta for this, and our very own... Let's have a round of applause for him, please. Shri I.D. Narayan Sahab, Chairman MEs here. Thank you for taking out the time and being here with us. Dr. Hemant Sharad Pandey ji. Sir, thank you. You came here today and spent a lot of time. I know things were running a little late, but thank you for all the patience and thank you for bearing with everyone here. And अगर देखा जाए तो सर combined age group जो है stage पे वो average age करीब 40 to 43 है. So a blend of experience and enthusiasm and energy that could be seen in today's presentations. And with this, I'd just like to say, sir, 2 साल पहले यहाँ पर में एक unlocking coal gasification का seminar हुआ था. और उस सेमिनार के बाद में आज 2 साल हो गए, 4 प्रोजेक्ट्स जो है वो लाइव हो चुके हैं. तो आज जब आपने अनलॉकिंग क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स किया है, हम 2 साल बाद मिलेंगे और 4 लाइव प्रोजेक्ट्स यहाँ जरूर लाएंगे सर. क्या बात है. So with that, I'd just ask the hostess to kindly call out for the mementos for our honorable guests, please. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much. And once again, I would like to thank each one who is sitting on the dais for such an insightful and valuable session. Thank you so much to all our esteemed dignitaries as well as the speakers on the dais. And yes, with that, let's take a moment to felicitate and acknowledge all our speakers here. May I now please request Mr. Anand Sancheti to please come forth and felicitate Director Coal India Limited, Shri Ashish Kumar. Let's have a big hand, ladies and gentlemen, for Shri Ashish Kumar, Director Coal India Limited. Coming up next, I would like to request Mr. Jitendra Naik to please join us here on the dais to felicitate Director Western Coalfields Limited, Shri Hemant Pandey.
So in the excitement of things, I'll just complete the vote of thanks on your behalf. Thanks, sir, Hemant Sab. You actually initiated this. We had some other topic in mind, but when we were talking to Hemant Sab, he said we should have something on critical mineral. I think that's why we are all here, and so thank you very much for doing that. Suraj Prakash, thank you for coming all the way from, Dhanbad, right? Yeah, and we kept speaking on the phone, but I got to see you on the stage only now. So thank you so much for coming. Trishula, wonderful. Once again, I mentioned it in my opening marks, but yeah, thank you so much for making it. Anuj, you did a wonderful job. So thank you for the entire panel for making it such a nice and informative event.
So yes, so here we are felicitating Shri I.D. Narayan, CMD Mineral Exploration and Consultancy Limited. And may I now please request Mr. Nirbhay Sancheti to come forth and felicitate Shri Hemant Pandey, Director Western Coalfields Limited. May I now please request Madhu Nair to please join us here to felicitate Shri Suraj Prakash, CEO Texmin. Mr. Madhu Nair ji. As a token of love, we are offering shawl, memento, as well as a sapling to our distinguished speakers today. Here I request Mr. Nikhil Sardesai to please join us here to felicitate Trishula Sancheti. Ms. Trishula Sancheti, Research Fellow, India Foundation. Let's now felicitate the moderator of this panel discussion, Mr. Anuj Mathur, for which may I now please request Mr. Manish Sanghvi to join us here on the dais. Manager Business Development WCL, Mr. Anuj Mathur. A big hand, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to request all our distinguished speakers to please stay here for a group photograph.